Toastmaster, it's a great pleasure to evaluate Pat Hansen's speech. Always love to hear Pat talk about any subject. This is a very profound, very important subject, obviously. She set this up with the Toastmaster in advance. This is coming, incidentally, from the Professional Speaker Advanced Manual that I've been through. A number of you will probably be doing that. It's a remarkable manual, one we can learn a lot from. This is her 5th speech out of the 5 in that manual, which is supposed to motivate and deliver a message, prepare and stimulate the audience to emotionally make contact with your subject. You certainly hit this out of the park. You did that beautifully. You had a very important subject and you addressed it very comprehensively. There are a number of things I loved about your speech. You had a very strong presence when you first came up here. I liked your beginning. I loved the idea of using a 12-step or 5-step version of the 12 steps to set this up. It made it much more relaxed, much more interesting than if you were up here preaching or just giving slides, like I'm sure a lot of other people who testified for this bill, pro or con, would do. I loved your characters. It was a very cute way you turned around, put on a new hat, and became a different person with your voice. Your gestures really showed that you were a different person, as well as the character of your voice. And I thought the honesty was particularly impressive. I think I should get an extra minute for a 19 to 20 minute evaluation. So I'd like 3 to 4, please. Thank you.
Don't fill it up with us.
If Robert can change his speech around, I can change mine. And I thought the honesty of the young man who said, I'm really in this for the money, I need it more than she does, was a nice counterpoint to the more serious, although that was a serious point as well. Suggestions. If you were actually going to do this, which I could see someone doing before the legislature, you might need to set it up a little bit more. So your first part of the intro was very good, but then I would add a second paragraph which might say, I'm going to use the format of a 12-step meeting to do this because I think I can get the human side of the story through to you a lot better than if I just give you some more data that you probably already know. Then I think you would have drawn in these people with you a little better. You also might have said more when you were using the different characters. I found you talking about what their problems were, which is admittedly important, and important as part of the support group. You want to amalgamate each other's feelings. And yet, you didn't say much about what the suffering of the parent was in most cases. In Jesse's case, you did, and in terms of the lady with Pick's disease, you certainly did. But the whole point of this is not so much to help us as caregivers. It is, but is to let people die comfortably, without pain, without suffering. And I think there was more emphasis on us as caregivers. And I'm making the recommendation you would change that if you were to do it again. I think you could have added some humor to this. It was pretty down. It's a down subject, but there are some probably cute little moments that could have come out. Maybe one of the grandmothers said something that she said, you said as a child to her, or turn things around generationally as happens, might have been a way to do it. There are a lot of other ways to do it. Finally, the only other suggestion, it's very tough when you're, or any of us are involved in such an emotional subject, to have to sing Memory. Memory is one of the hardest songs, one of my favorite songs, one of the hardest songs to sing. I think if you just said the lyrics, they are so profound, you would have gotten me to tears, which you did as it was. And I think that's all you needed to do was say, I'm going to say a few of the lyrics from one of my favorite songs, which applies here. Just a suggestion. I don't think any other person who testifies will come close to duplicating what you did. Congratulations. I can't wait to hear more speeches from you.